getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover, Zion. Happy Passover.
Happy Pesach. Let's get this party started.
All right, Brother Daniel. God, all praises to the Most High. Shalom, shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
All right. Let's go ahead and pull this up for Israel. We can go ahead and get the screen share on. All
right, we pray that while he's pulling it up, we pray that you all are having a blessed Holy Passover. We just finished the Passover meal. Ate and hate, roasted the lamb over the open fire.
That's right.
Ate it with bitter herbs and with unleavened bread, with our sandals on and lions girded, with staff in hand. This is the way it was when our forefathers, before they had to be delivered and go into the wilderness from the hands of their enemies and guided by the hand of Yahweh. And on this great day, we inaugurate everything that has happened with our forefathers. And this is why it says that we must keep the feast throughout our generations. Very important for us to remember why this is so serious, because it represents deliverance. And the lamb without blemish was to be chosen as a representation of the Hamashiach. And we're going to read in Exodus 12, and we're going to talk about what the Passover is all about. But before we get started, brothers, you have anything, brother?
Hey, Israel, give us a one in the chat if you can hear us. If you can hear us loud and clear, please give us a one in the chat to make sure that we can hear everyone.
Give us a one in the chat box if you can hear us.
We'll wait because we know we got a slight delay. All praises to the Most High.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How many do we have on right now? What does it say up in there?
We got about 7.
Okay,
so that's good. We can go ahead and start.
All right. So you got anything, brother, you want to share?
No, not really. Besides, we all know that this is the Passover, y'all. So we're just gonna go over a little light Passover lesson for y'all, because we know that y'all probably spending time with your families. Mm-hmm. You're eating the lamb and you're doing this and that. Okay, so we're not gonna hold you long. We're just gonna go over, a few things that we usually do around the Passover time, just to give us all remembrance of what this day is about.
That's right. That's right.
Brother Gamaliel.
I just want to say shalom to all you Jets and Gentiles out there. I would like to pray that you guys keep the faith and with all due diligence, keep your hand in the Most High's hand.
That's right.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, brother.
All right, Zion. So, hey, listen. Again, we pray that you all are having a blessed Pesach, and that you were able to get your lamb and to roast it over the fire, like the scripture says. We want to always follow the rules and instructions the Most High has given us. So we're going to start with Exodus chapter 12. We're going to start with verse 1. Brothers, Eitan, Brother Gam, if y'all want to jump in anytime, please do.
Okay, brother.
All right, so let's start off with the first one. It says, and then this is coming from the King James Version. So if you have your apocrypha, just follow along. It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Now, remember, we did the lesson on the calendar, and we showed you from the scriptures that indeed that the first month begins around the spring equinox. And so, we're going to continue to bring those lessons to you as well on the first of each month on the calendar. But it goes on to say in verse 3, it says, speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb. So in other words, the 10th day of the first month, they were to get a lamb, take a lamb per family household. It says, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbors next unto his house take it according to the numbers of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Verse 5. Your lamb should be without blemish.
What does that mean, right? What does that mean when it says that your lamb shall be without blemish, right? A lamb that's without blemish, that means you don't have any kind, a lamb doesn't have a leg that's too short, or it's not riddled with disease, or it has something that's wrong with it, right? The Most High, that's the same reason why Cain, right? Cain had a problem with Abel in the garden, is because his when he was coming to give his sacrifice into the Most High, which was plants that he was giving the Most High the garbage of his crop. He was giving the Most High his blemished crops, which was supposed to be the first crops of the best of the best that you're supposed to get. So every year, right, when we have the Passover, you're supposed to have the best of the lamb that you can get.
That's right.
Okay, a lamb without blemish.
Yep. And let me add to that as well too. When you look at your lamb shall be without blemish, I want you to really think about this. When Hamashiach came, he was a perfect sacrifice that was able to come. So and this is why that Hamashiach could not come through the corrupt seed of Joseph. And this right here is a cut to show you that Joseph indeed is not the biological father, because Joseph came from a corrupt line. And so if we go back, we can prove that through scriptures. But
that's right.
When you think about a lamb without blemish, that means no birth defects. Like Brother Eitan was saying, missing leg or some kind of birth infirmity or something like that.
That's right.
Birth defect. So when you look at your lamb shall be without blemish, think of how Hamashiach had to come through. He had to come through an uncorrupt seed.
A matter of fact, it even says in the Apocrypha that was it Ecclesiasticus that it says that Adam was he had the Most High and still the seed of wickedness in him. You see, but we know with Hamashiach, he's he doesn't have any seeds of wickedness in him, because he hasn't done anything that's wicked. He does only what the Most High tells him to do, and that's the only thing that he does.
That's right.
Right. So that means he is 100% perfectly righteous, which is why he is our King, right? The Lord of Lords, the King of Kings.
That's right. So I'll read that again. So verse 5, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. All right. So talking about the 4th, so which today is the day.
Right.
Even at sunset.
At Bib, right? The month of Abib.
Yep. And then it says, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening, meaning at sunset, which we did. So sunset, we prepared, roasted the lamb over the fire. Verse 7, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on 2 sides of the post and on the upper doorpost of the house, wherein they shall eat it. Man, that's powerful.
Right.
Verse 8, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread. So what is unleavened bread for those of you who are new? So unleavened bread means that any bread that does not have leavening or leavening agent in it that makes bread rise.
Give it a second, right? I'll show you what we eat.
Yeah.
Right. So you can so if they have this at the store, this would be good for you guys.
Yeah. So this is an example, like stuff that makes bread rise, like baking soda, flour, other any kind of yeast enhancing. So these are. Right.
So we usually get something that's similar to this, right? Yeah, like you'll see it probably in your neighborhood grocery store. Let's say if you have a Publix or something of that nature, they should have these matzo style squares, right? They're saying that's what they would be called. Even though the heathen makes them, they're still lawful because they're unleavened bread.
Yeah. And I know some of you already know how to make your own unleavened bread as well too. And if you do, that's
even best.
Yes, exactly.
That's best if you can.
I'll read. I'll start with verse 8 again. It says, "And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, with bitter herbs they shall eat it." So what does the bitter herbs represent? The bitter herbs represents the bitterness or the bitter treatment that we got from the Egyptians. And are we not still eating bitter herbs right now, spiritually, because we're still the tail and not the head. So technically, according to the scriptures, we are still in captivity, even though we don't have the chains on us. And so this is a representation how the Most High is going to deliver his people. When you look at all the feast days deals with deliverance in some form or fashion. And everything revolves around the Hamashiach. That's very important to understand. All right, verse 9, it says, eat not of it raw, nor sodden. Now, why would you not want to eat it raw? Because, of course, you can't eat the blood.
That's a sin, right?
Exactly.
You're not supposed to have no blood in any foods. That's a sin, right? You're supposed to drink of any blood.
Yep. It says, nor sodden at all with waters. In other words, it cannot be saturated where it's so moist and everything that you can't really eat it. It's soggy. You can't do that. But it says, but roast with fire his head with his legs, and with the pertinence thereof, and ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
Okay. Now one thing, Israel, right? Shalom again, right? It says that you're supposed to burn the pertinence of the whole lamb, right? Now I know that we don't do that, so we keep the law to the best of our ability. And see, this is where grace and your faith of Hamashiach comes into play, right? Because if you didn't have the grace of Hamashiach and the faith of Hamashiach, right, we would not have the understanding that even though that we're trying to do the best of our ability, this is acceptable, right? Far as the true way to do it is to take a whole lamb and roast all of them, right? You're supposed to roast the whole lamb, right? You're supposed to tie his legs together and roast all of them over the spit and then eat them up in the same day. One lamb per household, as the scriptures say, right? So this is really important that we know that while we're in captivity, that we have the grace of the Most High upon our people. That we allows that each of us that we, continue to practice the laws to the best of our ability. That's what's going to, that's going to get us to the next level, because the Most High knows that we're trying in all due diligence to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments.
That's right. All right, verse 11. It says, and thus shall ye eat it. So in other words, it's telling us how we should eat this Passover lamb. It says, with your loins girded. What does that mean? With your clothes on.
That's right.
All right.
It's lucky.
So, and I think, for some of those, so I'll start off with it again for some of you who didn't see the verse. It says, and thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet. Why? It's going to explain why. And your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. So this was the instruction that was given to them by Moshe. So they had to have their loins girded, staff, their sandals on, staff in hand. They were getting ready to go that night. They were getting ready to break camp.
That's right.
Because the Most High was showing them that He's going to give them a quick deliverance.
And
it's going to be the same way when the Most High delivers His people. Whenever that's going to be, it's going to be a very quick deliverance. And when you read Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 34, it talks about how the Most High, when He comes back, He's going to come back with fury and with a stretched out arm. So He's not coming back quietly. He's not coming back peacefully. He's coming back with vengeance and with destruction. So
that's right.
Just know that this is just a foretaste of what's getting ready to come for real. All right. Verse 12, it says, for I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both men and beast. Watch this. And against all the gods of Egypt, I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. So in other words, He's getting ready to send the angel of death to strike all the firstborn, even of the beast.
Right. But who was the angel of death in this situation, you think? Right? Because it says, for I will pass through the land of Mizraim this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And we know that later on at Exodus 20, the Lord says what? He's a man of war.
That's right.
Right. So he takes great pleasure in killing our enemies.
That's right.
Right. For those that keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Right. The Lord takes great pleasure in the killing and destroying our enemies.
Right. Right. Y'all better believe that, because you look at Ezekiel 9, tells you the truth.
That's right.
Verse 18. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the house where ye are, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you. So why is that important? Because the blood, why is the shedding of blood? Why do we have to shed the blood anyway, of a lamb or of any animal? Well, when Adam sinned, when he gave in to his woman, guess what? Because the responsibility falls on the head of the man. So therefore, that put everything in action. And the Most High, we knew that something had to die, because the Most High made Adam and Eve coats of skin. So something had to even die back then, which set the whole plan of salvation in motion. So, this is why we have to rehearse these righteous acts, because we have to constantly remember why we're in this situation in the first place. Why do we practice the righteous acts? It's because to remind us of our failures, of our falling away from the Most High, so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes. All right. Let's go to verse. Yeah, okay. Let me finish with half of the verse 18. It says, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you. Now we serve a mighty El, y'all, to be able to keep us in one place, bring all these plagues upon Egypt, but yet here we are, our forefathers in the land of Goshen, and none of the plagues affected our people. That's how powerful. That's when you know how powerful the Most High, and that was just scratching the surface of what He can do.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy, because our forefathers, they seen firsthand the miracles of Yahweh. They've seen the miracles. Here we are today. We have not witnessed anything like that. We've only read about it through the prophets.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And we believe it. We believe everything that has taken place. But our forefathers doubt it, even with everything they've seen. All right. You go back down here.
Okay.
Verse 18.
We all the way down there? No, we ain't down there yet.
Yep. No, I wanted to bring out a point right quick.
Okay, you talking about the verse 18 right here? In the first month, on the 14th day of the month?
Yeah. Okay. I think I read that right there. Okay, yep. So verse 18. Nope, I'm sorry. Let's back to 17 right quick.
All right.
So verse 17, it says, and ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Wow. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations. Do you hear that? What does generations mean? It means constantly your generations. Even during our captivities, we still had to keep the feast. By an ordinance forever.
Now, before he before we go on, I want to go back up, because you right here? Feast for an ordinance forever. That was 14.
Mm-hmm.
All right, right. So right where Brother Daniel had left off, I think we're gonna go into verse 15 and 16, and then we're gonna get back to 18 with Brother Daniel, because it says now right after the Passover, right after you eat your Passover, like if you're supposed to eat your Passover tonight during sundown, right, and so tomorrow, right, will begin the feast of unleavened bread, but you also eat your lamb with unleavened bread, which also at the same times really begins the feast of the unleavened bread. Okay, it says 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whatsoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. Right, and that's really important there, because I want y'all to understand that we need to get aware. If you have any leaven in your house, any bread, yeast, baking soda, any leavening agents, like Brother Daniel was saying earlier, you need to get out of your house. That's as you see, that's one of those sins that you can't come back from, right? You know what I'm saying? If you get caught out there and Hamashiach just happens to come back, on the day of the Passover, right? Which it wouldn't be so far-fetched as him coming back on that day because he delivered us the first time that way, right? And you got leaven in your house, what's going to happen to you? It says that soul shall be cut off from Israel. That means you're going to get destroyed, right? You're going to get put to death. So, right, so we need to keep these laws and understand how important it is not to do our ways, right, but to do the ways of the Most High, right, and His Son Hamashiach.
Yeah. And I also want to just see that, make sure you understand something very important and why leaven was so important to get rid of. You know, leaven representing sin. What is the main thing that sin does to the Most High's creation? It alters it. It destroys it. Let me give you an example. The first angels that went off, the watchers that were supposed to, the creation of the Most High, the angels that the Most High created, the watchers. Why did they go off? You know, and they rebelled. You know, and that's a representation of leaven. So leaven corrupts everything, and then when it rises, it causes stuff to rise. So anytime you have like rebellion within a camp, guess what? It spreads like a cancer.
That's right.
Because then other people start to fall on that and everything, and then people follow behind that. And then now you have a spread of rebellion that's happening. This is why Moshe had to rise up and kill his brethren, because you had people who were rebelling, and it was spreading throughout the camp because they were, I like to call them sympathizers.
And
sympathizers with the rebellion and everything.
If you rebel, right, rebellion is a
and pulls you in to it, and then those who sympathize with it, you know, makes it even worse.
That means get the leaven out of your mind, right? Not only out of your house and in the physical nature, but also in the spiritual nature, right? Relieve yourself of that leaven, right? That old leaven that's weighing down on your soul, right? Get rid of that stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? We need to come into the new, like right out there. Like you should feel just like your body, you know what I'm saying? After your body gets done of shedding all that yeast and all that stuff that you've done, because you're eating you're really on a special diet for a straight week. You know, that's what the Most High, because the Most High knows what's good for you. He knows how to run the Hebrew body in its optimal way. That's why He has these feasts and these diets and these things like that, you know what I'm saying, that He has for our people. No shrimp, crab, or lobster. That makes sense because what? No high cholesterol, because we're not what? Eating boo-boo and crap and all kind of nasty stuff, because we don't eat bottom feeders, right? The bottom feeders, those are for the heathens to eat, not for Israel, right? You know what I'm saying? But, you know, as we see that the good have turned evil and the evil have turned good, they have turned things like lobster and shrimps and crab into delicacies, right? Which really, that's the bottom of the barrel, stuff you're never supposed to touch.
And, you know, and these heathens know this. So if you notice how they push all this stuff, even like, give me an example, pork. Pork is one of the biggest products ever out there. They make everything out of pork. They make dyes out of pork. They make what you call those gelatin capsules. They make those out of they grind the pork bones up and make capsules out of those things and everything. Those what they call those gum candies and everything that's made out of pork. So the heathens knew that they would try to get our people to just rebel by creating all this stuff and making it so available to our people.
God, time out for just 1 second, right? Peter Piper, just so you don't keep spamming the comment board, right? When's the Shabbat, right? It's always the 7th day of the week, correct? So if we have 2 Shabbats back to back, right? And after the Shabbat, what's that's going to make sense, right? That we have the first day of Abib starts on the Sunday, right? So when does sundown Saturday, that will begin the what? The Passover, okay? Sundown Saturday is the Passover. All right. So I hope you understand that. Please, no more blowing up the comment board. I'm gonna block you. I'll put you on timeout for a minute, okay, brother? All right, continue on, brother Daniel.
All right. So I think we left off at 16.
Go on.
Okay, so we'll start with verse 16. It says, "And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation." So, brother, just explain that.
Go on.
The first day. So, in other words, sunset. On the 14th day at sunset, which was today at sunset.
Which is technically the 15th day, because at sunset, it begins the next day. So it is technically the 15th day today.
Right. It is it is a holy convocation. However, the new moon happens to also fall on this day as well, too. So it's almost like a double Shabbat.
That's right.
All right. It says, I'm going to read verse 16 again. "And in the first day there shall be an holy convocation." What is a convocation? Convocation we're doing right now, a gathering of our people together. "And in the 7th day there shall be an holy convocation to you." So in other words, 7 days from now, the last day. So the first day is a holy convocation, and then the last day is a holy convocation, which is the Sabbath. So we are not to work, buy, or sell.
As a matter of fact, I can let me see if I can pull up this calendar for Zion real quick.
Yeah, I think we might have a.
I think we still got it on here.
Yep.
All right, there we go,
There you
Zion. Boom, there we go.
Yep.
Right, so we can see exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Going to the coming board. Okay. So here we got, you see on the 14th day, right, on the way, which sundown, which is also the new moon, and it starts of spring, right? This is technically the 15th day,
Mm-hmm.
all right, which starts the Passover, all right. And with the Passover, you eat the, you eat your lamb along with unleavened bread, right? By the time that you're celebrating the Passover, right, sundown today, right, on the 15th day, you should have all leaven out your house. There should be no leaven left in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you should have got rid of that on the preparation day, which is before sundown on the Shabbat. But I understand some people have late stuff they don't get it. I mean, even myself included. But I got rid of all my leaven before tonight sundown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Brother Daniel.
All right, so I'm going to continue with the half of verse 16. It says, "And in the seventh day there shall be an holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them." So it's talking about both the Shabbats, the first convocation, the first Shabbat, and the last Shabbat on the seventh day. It says, "Save that which every man must eat, that only may be done to you. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsome day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever." So that means throughout your generation, that means constantly. All right. So verse 18, "In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, ye shall eat unleavened bread until 21st day of the month at even. 7 days," it tells you, 7 days shall ye there be no leaven found in your house. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Serious. It says, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. So I wanted to explain something about the stranger. Remember, it says the stranger or born in the land. Now, a stranger was someone who was not born in the land. All right. A lot of people look at that and they think that's talking about a white boy. All right, verse 20. Verse 20, "Ye shall eat nothing leavened, and all your habitations shall ye eat unleavened bread." So this is all throughout generations, y'all. This is what we are to practice. And this is why we should really take pride in what the Most High has given us, that we're even alive to be able to take part in the righteous acts. This is a blessing.
Now, the strangers here, just like the brother was saying, they are our own people. You understand? Now, some of our own people, they might not have been born in the land. Those are strangers. Like we're strangers to the land of Israel because we're born outside of the land of Israel. We're strangers. Okay?
That's true. And that's a fact.
So
in saying that, unless you got anything else, brother, this is just what we wanted to really show you through the scripture, so you have a really good idea of what the Passover is all about and all the feast days. Can you pull that calendar up right quick? Really?
I want to show Israel too something else. One last thing. But yeah, let me pull this calendar up for us.
And let's just look at that calendar again. Again, we did a class on the calendar, so if you are still confused on the calendar, just go back to the previous videos and you can see the class that we did on the calendar. But we have everything laid out for all of Israel for you to study. But here's the thing: you have to study the calendar. All right. I know we had a couple that told me that, hey, I was confused, but all you have to do is just read the precepts, read the instructions, and you won't have any problems at all. And you just have to practice it and rehearse it. But with that being said, it's going to take us just really putting in the work, and there's no other way around it, And if we want to really understand these feast days, we're going to have to put in the work and really study these feast days. They're ours. They belong to us. Most High has given them to us. He didn't give them to the heathens. The covenant was not given to the heathens. The only covenant was only given unto Israel.
God, right?
You know,
And I wanted to read this last one right before we let you go, just to make sure that you got a clear understanding that the Passover, right? The Passover is always going to be the same day of every single year.
always.
Right? It's not going to be on a Tuesday this year, a Thursday next year, and a Sunday the following year. That's never going to happen. Right? If you're in an organization or a congregation that does something like that, that's just extremely folly-rific, man, you need to run. You need to get up out of there fast as possible. All right. So let's read it here. It says, and the Lord spake to Moses in the wilderness. You know what? It's lucky. Let me get it in my Bible so I can read it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's the funny one.
And while he's pulling it up,
I got it.
y'all seriously take the time and go through these lessons that we've been doing, and really study these scriptures.
All right, this is a little different, right? So this has a little of the Hebraic of the manuscripts and the translation in there. So we're going to read. So it's going to sound a little different, but you'll know what I'm talking about, especially if you've been studying the scriptures like you're supposed to. Right? This is Numbers chapter 9, and we're going to start at verse 1. And Yahweh spake to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Mizraim, saying, let the children of Yasharel also keep the Pesach, right? The Pesach up until its appointed season, right? Always at its appointed season, right? That's really important. At its appointed season, right, which is spring,
That's right.
in the 14th day of this month at even, ye shall keep it in its appointed season, right? According to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof, ye shall keep it. And Moshe spake unto the children of Yasharel that they should keep Pesach, right? And they should keep the Pesach on the 14th day of the first month, at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all Yahweh commanded Moshe.
Mm-hmm.
So did the children of Israel, right? And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they should not keep Pesach on that day, right? Because you got to understand. Now, this is why it also talks about, on the Shabbat, you can't lay with your woman and things of that nature, because on these feast days, you can't be unclean.
That's right.
You can't touch any dead bodies. You can't be laying with your old lady and doing all that kind of stuff. And, coming to these feast days, that's not how it works. You got to be clean when you're coming on the feast days, right? Like every feast day, you should be mentally getting prepared for this. This is not nothing you just half-heartedly, think you can just do whatever the hell you want to do. That's not how it goes down. You will get destroyed, I promise you, right? And it says, and there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, and they could not keep Pesach on that day. And they came before Moshe and before Aaron on that day, and those men said unto him, we were defiled by the dead body of a man, where we were kept back, and that we might not offer an offering unto Yahweh in his appointed season among the children of Yasharel. And Moshe said unto him, stand still, and I will hear what Yahweh will command concerning you. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Yasharel, saying, if any man of you or your posterity shall be unclean by reason of dead body or a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Pesach unto Yahweh. The 14th day of the second month at even, they shall keep it and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it to the morning, nor break the bone of it. According to the ordinance of the Pesach, they shall keep it. Right? But the man that is clean and is not in a journey and forbeareth to keep the Pesach, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of Yahweh in his appointed season, that man shall bear his sin. Hold up, wait a minute. I'm going to get one more thing. You know what? Give me 1 second, Yashrala. Because I wanted to, this translation is, give me 1 second.
Which one are you looking for?
Here it is, right here. Salakia. Right. Never mind. I just wasn't there yet. Okay. All right. keep the ordinance of the peace up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, right here, right? Yeah, man, the translation is kind of funny. It says, and if a stranger shall sojourn among you and will keep the Passover unto the Lord according to the ordinance of the Passover, this is your own people, like a brother that's not been born in the land of Israel, right? And it says, and according to the manner thereof, so shall, right, keep the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do and have one ordinance both to the stranger and for him that was born in the land. Man, where is the one that it was saying that it was just right after the Shabbat that we had the Sabbath? Give me a second, Israel. I thought this was the one. That's why I was just reading all of that. Even besides the one that I might already went over it.
Go back up to the very top.
No. You know what? Give me a second. Let me find this real quick. Go ahead, Brother Daniel.
Yeah, I'm looking for something right quick. All right, so those of you all, everything that we've been going over. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead and start putting your comments in the question box, and I'm going to be looking if anybody has any questions. We want to make sure that we're clear and you're clear on the Passover, Pesach. So as you're putting those questions in, I'm gonna be looking to see what you guys are putting in so far. All right. So I think I saw somebody that says bye. So as far as the Passover is concerned, so no, we cannot buy on a holy convocation, buy or sell on a holy convocation. Right.
Okay.
Now the holy convocation you can cook unless it's not on a Shabbat. But if the holy convocation falls on a Shabbat, you cannot cook. All right.
Yeah, the first day, Leviticus.
So that's.
I got some.
Okay, I was just looking to see if anybody.
Can you see on yours over there?
Yeah.
All right, come.
Yes. Yes, the lamb had to be offered roasted over by fire. So yeah, that was during the Passover. All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah,
or if anybody wants to come on, did you put a link in the
yeah, I'll put one in the chat. Sloppy Israel, give me a second to pull this up.
If anybody wants to come in and everything.
Let me go.
Or give you a chance to come on backstage.
All right, Con. Let me invite you guys real quick.
Yeah.
Send your invitation. All right, there we go, Israel.
Yeah. So again, the purpose of Passover is to show you what's going to come. And when you look at all the feast days, our next feast day is going to be the day of Pentecost. All right. And that's seven Shabbats from now, 50 days from the day. So that's gonna be in May. We have that coming up, and then our next feast after that is going to be the blowing of trumpets. And so you all have the calendar, and you'll see in each. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because each of these feast days, they have to do with deliverance. They have to do with our people being delivered in some form or fashion. Blowing of the trumpets. What does that remind you of? When they marched around Jericho, blew the horns, and the city came falling down. When the seven angels blow the trumpet, you see what I'm saying? All those things has representation and everything of deliverance. And then we have our feast of we have the Feast of Tabernacles, which we spend 8 days in tents. Day of Atonement,
God,
which we fast for a whole 24 hours, which we afflict our souls, everything, so that we can get right and everything and cleanse ourselves. And by the way, we're only required, according to Torah, to fast 1 day out the year. Now, if you want to fast, you can fast as many times as you want to. That's between you and the Most High. but we're only required through the scripture to fast one day out the year. You would find it, brother?
Yeah, finally found it. Slaki, Israel. My silly behind was in the wrong. I was even in the wrong book altogether. Like I said, man, there's so many scriptures. Sometimes, all right, here we go. Right, this is another one about the Passover. The same thing, Israel. So this is something I wanted to show you guys. So I'm just going to read this real quick. It says, in the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover, and on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of the unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days must ye eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a holy convocation, and you shall do no servile work therein, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. It is 7 days a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. Right? And the Lord speaking to Obed, speaking to the children of Israel, saying unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you, you shall reap the harvest thereof. You shall bring a sheaf, right? A sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest, and you shall have a sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you on the morrow after the Sabbath. Ye shall wave it, right? Mm-hmm. So just pretty much just saying, there's always there's going to be a Sabbath. They're just saying that there's always a Sabbath falling before the feast day right here, where it's concerning.
Pull up the calendar again,
God,
so we can see it, so they can see it.
God. All right, Slaki, Israel, and take us along to find that.
Yeah. So in other words, the feast day is going to always the Passover is going to always fall on the Shabbat at even.
God, on the 15th day.
On the 15th day.
Right.
So
let's just use like common sense, right? So we know that the Most High said, so we're there in the garden, and he said that this is the first day of the first month that you're going to have, right? So what did that tell you? What day would that possibly be? What's the first day that we have today? Right? The first day that we have today is what? It's so-called Sunday, right? That's the first day that we have. And so that means no matter what, if it's 364 days in the calendar, right? 52 weeks of perfect 7, it will be impossible for the Shabbat to ever, it'll be impossible for the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread to come anything other than Saturday at sundown. Right? Saturday at sundown, right? Sundown Saturday is when it starts, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay? So that's just basically the whole thing that I'm just pointing out, that even if you wanted to make sense of it, no matter what happened, even if the Lord said that today is the first day of the month, we're always going to know that it takes 7 days for a week to pass. Right? There's always 7 days, and there's a rest day on the 7th day. 6 days we work, on the 7th day we rest. Right? Then 6 days we work more, and on the 7th day we rest. So common sense should tell you, what day should that be? Saturday, right? It's always going to be sundown Saturday. So like I said before, if you're in a congregation and then they're not reading the scriptures, it's right there in Leviticus, and saying that the doggone Passover follows right after the Shabbat.
And we explained how we got the Hebrew months and everything, and why the first day always falls around the spring equinox. The sun closes out the year and brings in the year. So it's very simple. It's a very simple arithmetic subject, and it's easy to follow, brothers and sisters. And I pray that a lot of our people will see it. I know many won't, but hey, we're going to go by the scriptures, and we're going to follow them the best we know how. Show our work or anything. So
that's right. It's really easy, right? Like Brother Daniel saying, the equinox, right? The equinox is when we get the same amount of time of night as we do day, right? That begins the year, right? And then we have another equinox, which is halfway through, right? And then that's all we have, 2 equinoxes a year: a spring equinox and a winter equinox, a spring equinox and a winter equinox.
And some of y'all might say, well, where do you find equinox in the scriptures? You got to use common sense, especially when you study the scriptures. When possibly can the new year begin anyway? It's not going to begin in the wintertime.
That's right. When
was around what time was Hamashiach born? It was around the springtime. It was probably around the beginning of the year, because the shepherds were out watching their flocks. So,
good and well, Hamashiach wasn't freezing nowhere in no manger. The creator of the world. Come on, man, that doesn't make any sense. Come on, that doesn't make no sense now. Really.
We don't know if anybody, like I said, we wanted to keep this short because I know y'all with your families and everything. But if anybody have any questions, if not, we're gonna send you off with a good old horn shout.
God.
All right.
Ready?
Shalom. Happy Pesach.
All right. Shalom. Happy Passover, Israel.
Shalom.
All right.